Hello everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. If you're new here, please like and subscribe and make sure you stay up to date with all of the latest videos that I will be coming out with in 2024. And so as you saw on the title of this video, what I wanted to talk about today, which has been on my mind for a long time to do a video on this, is on motherhood and just career balance, let's say. I'm trying to figure out a better title, but just kind of, I guess, wanted to give you my own personal journey into being a mother of a 2.5-year-old, first kid, and career. Because those were two things in my mind that I didn't think I could achieve at the same time. There was always some sort of negative feel when I thought of becoming a mother if I wanted to continue my career. And basically what I want to do today is kind of debunk that and say, don't think like that. You don't have to give one or the other up. I think it's very possible that you can do both and do them great and be happy and successful. And so I think that's kind of the purpose of this video, because I felt like when I was thinking about becoming a mother, there was a lot of concern on my end and fear about what that would mean for my career and the success of my career. And so I guess the number one message that I hope you can get across this video is that don't delay having children for a career. I see so many women do that. I was one of them, waiting for years till I was good enough and respected enough and had enough seniority and the right timing, right? It's kind of like what we're all wishing for. And I think, for me, it worked out well. The timing was perfect. I don't regret any of it. What I do wish I could take back is that fear and almost shamefulness of wanting a family and what that would mean for me. And so basically, I guess I'll run you quickly through career journey here so you can understand a little bit. And also just realize that everybody's experience is completely different. Every employer is completely different. And I would say even really good employers that have all these amazing perks and benefits for you, and you can have a great career and great maternity leave. But if you have the wrong manager or the wrong person that's leading that team that you're under, you may not be successful just because that person isn't as flexible or as accepting or understanding of when a woman leaves to have a child. And so for me, luckily, it was extremely positive. Had an amazing manager at the time, amazing kind of senior leadership of the business that I was kind of running, Extreme. And they were super supportive. But I've heard of a lot of stories from different companies across the industry and outside of the industry where they didn't necessarily have that great career because they left on maternity leave. When they came back, they weren't offered a good job. They were expecting that they're going to have their second kid, because that's a big unconscious bias that a lot of people have, is she's most likely going to go have a second kid. Or, they came back from maternity leave and they were just seen differently, or just not giving the promotion that they were promised, et cetera. And so there is still a ton of problems out there in terms of just women advancement in career, in the career ladder regardless. But I kind of just wanted to share my positive story and tell you that, no company in the world is worth you not having kids for, or delay starting a family that you want to start at just for a position or for, quote unquote, a career. Because at the end of the day, you could be gone tomorrow and you didn't have the kid, or you didn't have that family that you so much wanted. And it does bring you so much happiness and purpose and just all these other things that it brings you to be a mother that I didn't know about. That now when I hear friends and family who are scared to have children, I'm like, no, you can do it. And I think we just need to feed a more positive message to women that you too can do it, versus the negative messages that I would always get from just growing up in the 90s of, you have kids, you stay home, or you have kids, your career is over. And that's kind of the mentality mindset that I grew up in, because that's what happened around me. My aunts or cousins, if they had a kid, well, the husband takes over and you stay home, and you stay home with the kids. And so that was very common for me growing up. And so that's, I think, why that negative attachment came to me starting a family, and what would that mean for my career. And so I hope by me sharing my positive experience, it will inspire you to not delay or to stop being scared of having kids, because you're going to be fine. Okay. And so, like I said, my daughter's 2.5 years old. I had her when I was 31, and it was the right timing, like I said. I did wait to get into my 30s to have children, but that was a personal decision. I just felt like I wasn't ready to be a mom so young. And I also, again, career in the background, I did feel like it is important to have a kid after you've made, quote unquote, a name for yourself in the company, or have some sort of tools in your toolkit to have a good career, something that you can show, a brand, experience, etc. Because I find leaving on maternity leave is going to be easier, because you're like a senior already, like you know how things work, you've got the network, etc. And so would I encourage you to, you know look a little bit at the timing? Yes. Do I think you have to delay it forever because the right timing is going to come? No. Even at 31, I didn't think the timing was right. I thought, ooh, I was going to get a promotion next, and now it's going to happen. So the timing is never going to be right. But there is a point, I think, that you can still look at in terms of like, when is the optimal time? And I do think it is after 5+ years of being in a company where they can know you. And so it's easier for when you come back for them to give you a job that fits you well, and that you can kind of continue on that progression. Um, Another thing that I did, which I really encourage you to do, is have a conversation with HR. So I'm talking generic in terms of, I don't know how other companies work, but I assume most people have HR that they can go to and let them know that they're pregnant. And then you have a meeting with them and your manager, and you say, so what's next? How are we going to do this? Because this is a team effort at this point. And so it's really important to sit down and just plan out the expectations. Okay, so I'm assuming 9 months, due date is August. Cool. I think I'm going to leave a week prior just to make sure I'm okay. So you plan out all of the steps. I want to work till I'm going to deliver. I think I'm more comfortable with a month before I have a kid. Those are all your options, and those are all things that you can work out with the company in terms of what makes a better experience for you and for them. And so for me, I wanted to work until the day I gave birth. And so that's, I sat down with my boss, I sat down with HR, and I told them what my expectations were. Then we also talked about after, because I think that's super important. What is the plan when I get back? Are you going to move me to another country? Are you looking at getting me out of this business and into a different business? Are you looking to switch me roles? Am I coming back straight to this job? There's a lot of conversation that has to be had. And I think at the end of the day, and I always say it, you drive your career. No one's going to do it for you. You are the CEO of your life. And so you need to be the one coming in with the plan and saying, I'm working till I'm going to give birth to this baby till the last second. I want to come back from maternity leave after 3 months, and then I want to do X, or I want to take full maternity leave, plus I want 2 months of extra unpaid time off because I want to stay home for 6 months and I only really have 3, so I'm going to take 3 off. And those are all choices that you have. And I think many companies are pretty flexible nowadays for that. And so it's just really up to you to sit down and plan out what you want. And you have to speak up. You have to let people know what your plans are and what you would like, what would success mean after this maternity leave. And I do think, HR or talent managers, et cetera, they're there to see the success of your career. Most employers would like for you to come back to work in a good environment and ready to continue your career, because they've invested a lot of money in you anyways. You're somebody that has experience. You're going to have to replace you. And so I think it's a win-win for both parties. And so I did that. I basically was like, all right, I'm doing this. This is what I want to do. You do get a package where you can pick kind of a maternity leave that you would like. So here's the standard. I don't even remember what ours was, but I think it was like 12 weeks. Plus, you can add your vacation, and you get 4 or 6 weeks of extra. If you have a C-section, it's longer. And if you have a regular birth, it's a little bit smaller. I'm sorry, I don't remember how much I had off, but I think it was like 12 weeks. So let's just say that. And I remember thinking, I don't think I need my full maternity leave because I am crazy workaholic and I'm going to miss the business and I don't want to leave too long because they're going to forget about me. And so I did have a lot of those worries, like I said. And so I planned it so that I can come back early. And so I made a deal with my boss where I was going to come back earlier than expected. So not take my full maternity leave. And then the other half, basically, of what I would have gone to stay home and get paid, I did it part time. And so for me, it worked out because I basically had like 20 weeks of part time because I didn't take my full maternity leave. And that was really nice for me. And I've heard of a few other women that are colleagues of mine in my office that mentioned they were also part time and it really worked out for them, or they did it with their second once they were a little bit more comfortable, or with their third. I did it with my first, and for me, it worked out, but I can see how part time wouldn't work out for a lot of people. So just make sure that you kind of do the right research of what that would look like for you and whether or not that's something you're willing to do. Also, looking back, I kind of regret it a little bit in the urgency of wanting to go back to work so quickly. They're never going to be this young again. It's such a beautiful experience that I just overlooked that. I just wanted it to get over with. I just wanted the baby, my baby, to be old. And I didn't have to wake up every 2 hours. And it's sad because I went through that period with just like a rush of like, okay, I just want to go back to normal. I just want to go back to my normal life. And looking back now, I wish I would have just paused. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to just take a break. And I didn't. And of course, it's not a break because you're super busy, but it's like a mental break where all you have to do is take care of this baby. And it's so beautiful. And I regret not taking my full maternity leave. Hell, not regret not taking, like asking for another 6 months. I should have stayed home for a year. But there was always that worry of what's going to happen to my career. And so I guess the video at the end of the day is for you to like relax. Nothing's going to happen to your career. You're going to be fine. Take my advice and take a little bit longer and enjoy this baby because they're never going to be this age again. And so that's a big regret of mine. So I came back, did the part-time. It worked out well. I went back to the same job, which for me was it was ideal. It was what I wanted. I had a few people say it's better to go back to a new job and then kind of just grow and continue and get that challenge right away. I personally was like, I kind of rather go back to my job. I know how to do it really well. I can do it with my eyes closed. Plus, now I'm a mom and I'm going to need to manage the whole mother career. And so for me, going back to the same job just made more sense for me. It was a better decision. And so I did that. And then, when you get back from maternity leave, I suggest, because not a lot of people do this, go bug HR, go bug your manager and say, I want to sit down and have a conversation on my career. What's next? What's going to happen? Is my promotion or that, career aspiration that I had that was in my plan in the next year, but because I had a baby, is it still attainable? What do I need to do to get there? And so I think, again, you have to drive your career. And a lot of people don't do this. They come back, they may be frustrated and they never speak up. And then it's just years go by. And so I think it's really important to set up those meetings, get in front of them. What's happening with my career? What do I need to do to get back on track? Blah, 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 and map it out with them. And so that's what I did. I had requested, an international transfer when I got back. I said, okay, now is the time. So if you guys want to start looking for something, because I knew I had to renew my visa either way, now's a good time. I had the baby. I'm good. I'm back. Let's start looking for a job. And so I think why my experience was good is because I had it all mapped out. I had it all planned out and it all worked out. But it was a lot of my initiatives of booking these meetings and saying what I wanted and driving my career and talking with the right people. And so That's crucial when you go on maternity leave. And then second is the flexibility part, which is super important. And I think a lot of companies nowadays, 2024, flexibility, they know they need to do that to keep their female talent. And so what I mean by that is I was breastfeeding. And of course, I'm new to this. And every 2 hours, I have to be near my baby. And so I was back to work. And so sometimes I'd be at the office and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and run and like drive home because my baby needs to eat. And then I would drive back. And yes, you can pump, but my baby just wasn't taking bottles at the time. And I didn't know how to force her to take bottles. And it's not that easy. And so I was like, I need to feed her. And so physically, I was driving back and forth, or there was times where I was working from home, which was amazing, where I could just walk into the room and feed her. And so those are the things I'm talking about, flexibility. My boss was super flexible in that aspect of, okay, after a certain time, she needs to go, and it's better if she just stays there because she's got to be close to the baby. And this is not forever. This is for a few months while you're breastfeeding. And so it just makes it easier when you have that kind of management that is very flexible. That is like, okay, we can't do the meeting around this time because she's, she has to go pump in her room, or she has to go see her baby, or she's got to pick up her kid from daycare because they close at this time. And so it really matters a lot, that kind of manager that you have that is very open to understanding the struggles when you first have a kid and you're back to the office, because your entire life has changed. You're on a clock. You've got all of these things that need to happen in order for the house to stay up to date, for your baby to be okay, for your partner. Like, it's a lot of responsibilities. And when you're trying to juggle all of it, if you don't have a flexible manager that is willing to, kind of cut you slack a little bit at the beginning while you're kind of getting back into the things, it could create just a really hard time. And I can see why a lot of women would leave and say, I can't keep up with this. I can't do both. And so the reason I was able to do both is just that flexibility part and just good management. And so at the end of the day, after talking to many women who have children, is just you have to pick the right partner. Your spouse needs to be a 50-50 type of partner, in the sense of it can't just all fall on you, because you're the mother, because you're the female of the household, etc. And so it really is that partnership. And I think that's what made my experience really well, where we had tasks, each of us, and Tim was doing 50%, I was doing 50%. We're both working, we're both trying to make this work. And so I think when it falls on the woman, everything, I can see why anybody would get overwhelmed. It's a lot. And so it's finding the right partner, giving each other tasks that are fair enough and balanced. So like 50-50 of chores and all the other things that need to be done, having talks with management about your career blueprint, what needs to happen, what are steps that you need to do in order to get there. And nothing will hold you back. Having a child is not an excuse, will not hold you back. And that fear that women have, and I was one of them, just erase that from your mind, because we are in 2024 where companies are really valuing female talent and they want you to stay, and they're going to try to do anything possible to make sure that that experience is well. And again, I always say it's a year at max of flexibility, of the first year when that new mom is just kind of getting in the swings of things, because it is complicated. And so I encourage you to not worry about your career. It will be fine. I'm fine. A lot of other women are fine, and you're going to be fine. And yes, you will find a lot of bad stories, and it's unfortunate, but don't let that be the driver of you delaying to have a child. So I hope this helped. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I hope this helped. I have so many friends and friends on Instagram that message me about just how motherhood kind of has changed their life, or just kind of the career aspirations or the fear of having children. I have a lot of those like younger followers that are like, I don't know when I can start a family. And so it's important, like I said, to figure out the timing, but also don't let fear hold you back. We have one life and it's very short, and family really is the most important part. And so, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please send me your comments below in terms of what else you want me to cover. Do you have any more questions on motherhood? I'd love to do a series of, a Q&A session on motherhood. I think it could be a good video. And so, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like this video. See you on the next one.